underground models.
Hello guys, thank you for joining me again in a new edition on channel update. This is going to be a special edition dedicated to my 100 subscribers. I'm very happy with the achievement. Of course, this number looks ridiculously small if you compare with long time established channels that they have by tens of thousands of subscribers. For me, as a new channel, is a very important milestone and is a confirmation, if you want, that I'm going into the right direction. So I wish to thank officially to any single one of the 100 subscribers. Yeah, by the time I'm shooting this video, the number was passed already. My last reading was 105 subscribers, but I consider effectively that the first 100 ones are the most important ones. You know how they say it's difficult to make the first million. The other ones come by themselves. So thank you very much guys for your support and for you commenting. I have 3 or 4 subscribers that they are constantly commenting and encouraging my activity, so thank you very much guys. Generally talking, I wish I thank to anybody that watch my videos. Of course, one of my future builds is going to be dedicated to this achievement, 100 subscribers. We're going to see later during this video and also during the next. Until then, as I did my custom already, I'm going to present you the builds that I managed to finish since last channel update. The build that I was showing to you as being completed last, the Russian tank T-54, was lacking weathering. Well, now it's well completed and the series, all 3 installments were published already on my channel, so I'm not going to go back to it. Perhaps many of you have seen it already, and since then I managed to complete those 4 models. I'm quite happy with my achievement. Of course, not all those models are too complicated. We have 2 hobby bows here that they are relatively easy, but on the other hand we have an ICM, a Tamiya ICM, and a Eduard kit that they were more complicated. So I try to keep balance between fast builds and elaborated builds that require more time, more attention and such. All these buildings, they were shot on video, so I have the footage for any single one of them, and when I have the time to edit them and to put them together, you're going to see the series. So out of those buildings, the first one to be finished was this Hobby Boss ADGZ-Daimler. It was relatively an easy kit. I had some assembly problems, do some warping, but other than that it was straightforward and easy kit. I'm happy with the way I managed to complete this build. It's relatively simple, but it has a good, very good look to it. So for whoever is impatient to see the progress on this build, you can check Armorama, because the pictures were published into a group build dedicated to armored vehicles. So yes, you can see, you can check there if you want to see this build before you're going to see the video. Now the second build to be completed was this IR-80 made by Hobby Boss as well. Well, I'm not a big Hobby Boss fan, but it's just a coincidence, but I have to agree that their aircraft models improve quite much lately, so I might become a regular customer for their kit. I also seen very nice armor kits, so yeah, it's an open possibility that I'm going to spend more money on Hobby Boss. I'm quite impressed. By the way, I'm quite impressed with the quality and the easy of the build on this model. That was impressive, it has to be said. So now unfortunately Hobby Boss has a whole list of errors regarding the decals, and especially the decal application. A few of them I could avoid, like the placement of those decals. I see several builds on the YouTube that they placed it wrongly around the cross, as the instruction manual suggesting. Well, it's not their fault, it's what the manual told them to do, and perhaps they cannot read Romanian, so they didn't know the signification of this word, so we just couldn't figure out proper place to stick those decals. Anyhow, disregarding the decals, the kit is excellent, so I ordered 2 more because I did some mistake on my turn. I completed this build just 2 days before I received the book dedicated to IR 8081 frames by the Romanian modeler Radu Brânzan, which is a superb book. Technically speaking, it's a superb book, and you have all details regarding the aircraft there. Unfortunately, as I said, the book came after I finished the build, so because I was content with the build, I decided not to redo it, leave it that way as a reminder for my mistakes. I'm going to build 2 new IR-80, I don't know when, at some time. This time I'm going to try to avoid all the mistakes I've done. One of them, and most obvious, is the camouflage application, so those stripes are not by no means realistic, and also it should be a wraparound camouflage, so the belly shouldn't be blue. There are some other minor mistakes, but the most striking is this one, so I'm going to remake it completely, letting alone my mistakes and the Hobby Boss mistakes that drove me into my mistakes. Actually, it's a very good kit, so I gladly recommend it for all kind of modelers. For the advanced modeler, it's a superb base for super tailing. I've seen a blog running right now on a Cartula, Romanian site, where the user Rock and Rolla does an excellent build, adding all the details that I skipped. So I'm going to study more in depth the Radu Brânzan book, and I'm going to follow my fellow modular build. So once I see those completed, I'm going to use them as a guide for my future builds. But I have to say, I'll fall in love with this aircraft. It's superb aircraft, and it's superb molding from Hobby Boss. So thank you very much, Hobby Boss, for that. Now the next 2 models that I showed to you today, I finished them in, I built them in parallel, and I finished them in very quick succession. But this one, the AMD 35, is a cooperation between Tamiya models and ICM. The plastic is ICM. There are some add-ons from Tamiya, and the manual, kit's manual, is printed by Tamiya, and it comes in Tamiya boxing. But other than that, it's the ICM kit. Well, I know you haven't seen it yet on my channel. Oh, actually you see the Mercedes G4. Well, you don't see it that often on my channel, but I'm deeply in love with ICM molds, so I really love the level of detail they managed to put into a kit without using too much photo etch. Actually don't using at all photo etch parts, so I'm very grateful for that. Those ICM kits, they are really loaded with detail. I'm very pleased. I'm overjoyed every time I work on ICM kit. This build was part of a group build, the same group build like the ADGZ. That build was not on my plan. If you go back to my previous channel update, you're going to see that I never announced this build because it was available sample on Kitmaker Network. So Darren Baker, the responsible for distributing the armor kits among modelers, was kind enough to send this one to me. I love it. I enjoy every single moment of this build, and I think I get a good result. On the same, he has a separate blog on Armorama showing the whole process of building and painting. The video version is going to come, but is going to be relatively late because it's this one before, then I'm going to no, it's this one before it, and then it's going to the mix. So this is the 3rd one in the series. So yes, it's going to be some time discrepancy between the time I finish the model and the time you're going to see the full video series on the YouTube. And the last one I finished is this superb Eduard from in 1/72 scale, a Romanian marking MiG-15. Very nice build. Again, I enjoyed every single step of it, and I'm quite happy with the finish. Regarding the level of detail, well, I have to admit here that I have to improve my skills on painting metallic paints. I'm not quite happy with the way I get the aluminum look on this aircraft, but other than that, it looks terrific. So yeah, it was a good build. The only problem I have is the lack of professional paints, that which I bought. Meanwhile, I'm going to show it to you right away. So, but the episode, the building episodes are coming after the armor car. So you're going to see it. It's a superb build. There are a couple of them already published by bigger than mine channels on YouTube. You can see them. Well, it looks like if the modeler pays enough attention to this kit, it builds every single time in a superb kit. So I'm very happy with it. Now, as perhaps you are used already with my formula, let's move to the new acquisitions, and then we're going to talk about my future plans and also about the tools that I bought meanwhile to improve my working bench. See you in a few moments. Okay guys, I'm back now to the second part of this video where I'm going to present you my new acquisitions. So I'm going to pull them randomly from the delivery box. They're still in the box. Let's see what I get here. The first kit to come at hand is this Opel Admiral Cabriolet, World War II German passenger car in 1/24 scale. I built this model from ICM before in 1/35 scale. That was an absolute pleasure. My skills were not good enough at that time, so the model ended up eventually in the garbage bin. I just have a few low resolution photos that I'm not going to show to you. I love this kit, and this is going to be dedicated to Kevin. This is one of my first subscribers that commented a lot on my channel, and thank you very much, Kevin. I know it's not a Mercedes G4, I know it's an Opel, but belongs to the same time frame, if you want, and it has the same classy look to it. So please accept the exchange. I'm not ready to build another G4, but whenever it's going to be ready, that build is going to be dedicated to you too. I'm looking forward for this build. Is not in my immediate plans right now, but let's see how my build are going to progress. Time is not quite my ally in these circumstances. Now let's move forward. So a Focke-Wulf 198 R2. That's a customized edition for the Sturmgruppen in Germany. In the last days of war, you can see the protection panels, additional armor. I just read a book from Squadron Signal dedicated to the Sturmgruppe, and I was completely impressed by the bravery of those German pilots in the last days of the war. So I consider that is going to be a nice homage to their bravery to build one of these kits. Again, I'm not sure when it's going to be, but I want to build it, and I'm going to add it up to my schedule as soon as some time window becomes available. Also depending what campaign they're going to be running on Aeroscale. So maybe it's going to be built sooner than I'm expecting now. I don't know. Okay, next on the row is this MiG-21 fish bed from Academy. Well, this is a very old and very cheap kit. I bought it as a test bed to exercise my metallic colors, so it's not going to be a very elaborate build. I don't know, it's going to be just a training build, a test build, as I say. So it's a very simple kit, comprises just a few parts. For what I understood, it's an old Hasegawa kit. Anyhow, it backdates in 1984, if I could remember. Yes, you can see it here. This kit is was published by was released by Academy in 1984. That means it's a 70 kit from Hasegawa, and the main critic that was voiced about this kit is that whatever you try is going to be is still going to look like a toy. Let me think about it. Maybe a few improvements will change these looks. We're going to talk about this kit just moments later, so please stay tuned. Now I start my foray in Japanese aircraft. That's going to be my first Japanese aircraft. I know these kits from Tamiya are exceptionally good. The level of detail in report with the easiness of assembly are unbeatable, so Tamiya still remains leader, absolutely leader on this regard. Let me see when I'm going to build it. Again, not on my emergency plans, but I might build it as a recreational build at some close future, I don't know. Well, I told to myself that I should try one of the new Airfix kits. I heard a lot of good things about them. I never built myself one. I bought a Henkel 111, but I never get to build it. It looks like a complicated build, so then I say, okay, let's try a simpler one. This build is going to be dedicated to my actual boss, which is a Brit. So yes, this is going to be for him. It's the first version of the Hurricane with the fabric covered wings. It's going to be an interesting build. I'm not that much into British aircraft, but as my description of the channel says, I never step back from interesting builds, so this is going to be one of those. And this kit here, a Dragon Panzerwagen 1 Ausführung A, early production, is from the older Dragon kit that they were still doing good things with their releases. It's a very interesting one. I have a big project. I want to build the whole lineage of German tanks since 1934 to 1945. I don't like paper panzer, so I'm going to stop in 45. But as I said, I intend at some point to build a full lineage of German fighting vehicles in the Second World War, and the good point to start is Panzerwagen 1 Ausführung A. There is another one, the training one, that I was considering buying, but I say this one is more representative, and besides I want to do a desert camo build, so this is going to be exactly what do I need. Again, I'm waiting for a campaign. It's going to be a campaign dedicated to the Mediterranean theater of operations, which this might fit, but I'm still thinking of it. I guess I'm going to enroll myself with another build. So this concludes my new acquisitions, and let's move now to my future plans. I'm going to show you what I'm going to build during the next months until my next channel update in June. Okay, so this Mac DM600, which you see it already on my previous edition, is still on my plans, but now is going to be the first build. I'm going to shoot the inbox review right after I finish this channel update, so I'm going to be working on it very next days, so stay tuned. You're going to see this soon enough. After I'm going to finish the Mac truck, I'm going to move to this Stuka, which I have it from a long time. You see the box is bending already under the weight of my the other kits on the stash. So I have considered its time has come, so I'm going to build this right after the truck. Is going to be part of the campaign, as I say, from a European theater, the Mediterranean theater of operation. Since Italy is the heart of the Mediterranean, I'm going to do it with Italian markings. The kit provides provision for the Italian version. This second option here, and yeah, it looks interesting. I never did an Italian aircraft, so I'm happy to start working on it. It's going to be a nice build. Now, I am anticipating now that next, somehow, I'm going to build this Arado 196 A2. I'm not going to build it as shown here. The marking schemes are very interesting offered by the kit, but I want to do some Romanian aircraft, hypothetical Romanian aircraft. I ordered some decals for a what-if version of this aircraft on Romanian livery, so I'm waiting. As soon as decals will come, perhaps I'm going to start planning on this build. Anyhow, this I'm not considering an obligation, so my plans can change. And we're going back to this MiG 21 fish bed. This one, as I said, is a test bed to my metallic color painting. I want to try better aluminum finish, so I consider that a cheap kit, easy to assembly, is going to be exactly what I need. So I bought this antique, let's say so, which I'm going to do it. If I can start a parallel build when I'm going to be almost done with my truck, perhaps I'm going to stick it in, but that also depends on what my reviewing schedule is going to be with Kit Maker Network. So if I receive any other kit in between, then I have to accommodate that kit to my schedule. So because I finished what I had from them for now, so in this respect my working bench can be considered empty. So if I receive any kit from Kit Maker Network, I'm going to give priority to theirs. Anyhow, this I keep it on the side, ready to be assembled and painting as soon as my building schedule get more lax. So you should expect this one not too far from now. Okay guys, moving to the third part of this video dedicated to the new tools I bought. So let's see what we got here. I bought two sets of micro drills from Zona Tools because my old set, well, it's all fine, but it's all rusty because of Caribbean climate. So I thought the time has come to change them. I like this one. Drills are extremely small. Well, very well. It's exactly what I need. So I didn't open that. I'm going to open them when I'm going to use them, which is not far from now. Then I bought from Eduard two sets of belts and 1/72 scale for bombers and for Luftwaffe fighters. They are nice additions. They are not expensive. They are pre-painted, so they look very good once added to the pilot seat. So I thought buying some generic seat belts would help any build on 1/72 scale I might do from now. I also ordered a set of Japanese seat belts, thinking of my Tamiya Zero I bought. So but they are still on the way, so I cannot show you the Japanese ones, but I'm happy with those. They look good and they'll make any aircraft interior to stand out. Now, since I'm dedicating more and more time to aircraft build, well, I bought some sets of micro saws, nano saws, or whatever you want to call them, from Tamiya. I like Tamiya product. They are a little bit expensive, but so let's see how they work. As you see, they are also not tried yet, but already if I'm going to build that MiG-21, you see it before, I'm going to need to operate some modifications. So this shows if they work properly, they're going to be the right tool for the job. Those fine transfers from Archer, I bought them as an add-on. I don't intend to use them soon for what my modeling schedule is, but I remembered that I built once a AA gun, and I was so upset that I cannot do those victory markings, so I say let me buy some to have it just in case. The price is not expensive, it's even cheaper than the recommended price, so I paid less than $4.95. So they're okay. In my decal stash, also related to aircraft building, I bought this plastic putty. I was surprised by the poor fit of Eduard kit. I was expecting a better fit, but then watching other videos on YouTube, I actually realized that it's quite characteristic for Eduard to have gaps when you join the fuselage parts. The fit on Eduard kits is not as good as Tamiya, but their level of detail is fantastic. So yeah, I'll gladly build anytime Eduard kit from Profipack edition. So well, I didn't try it yet. I don't know how good it is, but I'm going to give it a try, of course, and I will let you know how I find it, or you're going to see it on my video. Well, also from Tamiya, I bought this Mark Fit Strong, because when applying the decals on my AMD 35 French reconnaissance vehicle, I had difficulties with the same Tamiya decals, and I was thinking, let me give them a sip from their own medicine. Let's see next time if Tamiya decals behave better with Mark Fit Strong. I never had problems with decals using microset and microsole, but this time I did have, so I had to slice the decals to fit over the compound shape of the mudguard, so I didn't particularly like it. I'm going to try next time using a Mark Fit Strong. Now, because my disappointment regarding using the aluminum from Rust-Oleum range, I decided to buy professional colors from Alclad family. All those are different shades of aluminum. We have duraluminum, we have polished aluminum, and we have airframe aluminum. The problem with Rust-Oleum paint was that it's not bad at all. It's a very good shiny finish. It's a very resilient paint. I love to work with it. The problem is that their metallic flake is too big, and after you apply the clear coat works as a magnifying glass, so you really can see the flake, and they give a completely unrealistic look to the model, which is a shame, because at least on the last completed MiG-15 I did the gloss coat went on superbly, but unfortunately under the white light that I used for shooting my videos or taking my photographs, and under the clear coat, the metal flake, it's way too big for the scale, so it looks unnatural. So those are going to put to test with my MiG-21 build. I'm expecting to see the results. I never tried them yet, but I tried their chrome and I was very happy with the chrome, so I am assuming that the aluminum is going to be looking as good. And finally, I bought some more oil paints. I'm start using oil paints more often than before because I changed my clear coat. Locally available are those Van Gogh series. They are not bad at all. Actually, they are fine oil for painting. The pigment is very fine. The shades are transparent, so if you pay attention to opacity, so you can get very nice effects. You're going to see them on my I use them already on building my MiG-15, so you're going to see them on the video how I apply them and the result you can get with them. I was very happy with the result, and also they make very nice washes with odorless turpentine. So yes, it's a very good build. They are not really expensive if you buy them by piece, as I do. As you can see here, it's 8 guilders and 50 cents, which makes like $4 approximately. They are not expensive. I expect to last for a long time. Yes, the Van Dyke Brown, you see me using many times, so you can see that the tube is almost new, and I use it at least on 6 builds so far, so you barely can see the difference. That is a tube, so it's a good investment. So $4 lasts you long. Okay guys, this is concluding this edition of my channel update. I'm going to make another special edition on June, when I'm going to have 1 year of activity on YouTube, and that special edition is going to be dedicated to my evolution as a channel from the very beginning to the 1 year. So I'm curious myself what is going to be my achievements by then, but for now the main achievement is 100 subscribers. Thank you very much guys. Thank you every single one of that 100. I wish I can shake hands with every one of you, but yeah, so please accept my virtual handshake. Until then, I wish you happy modeling, and I see you next time. Thank you very much. Hi again guys. I hold the release of this video in purpose because just after I finished shooting the first instance, it happened that my next shipment was ready, so I wanted to give good news to at least 2 of my subscribers. Since this is this video, it's especially dedicated to my subscribers, I consider it that it's a good idea Perhaps this is going to make happy at least 2 of my subscribers. So as said earlier, I ordered from Hobby Boss again the Romanian IR80. The reason why, because my first build contained some mistakes, and I always find, for me at least, that it's easier to build a new one, a model than to try to correct the old mistakes. The first model was built into a haste, and now I'm going to take my time and focus and gather more information, and so I bought 2 of them because right after launching they were not so easily available, strange enough. So that was the second time that I had my order and hold, waiting for those 2 kits to become available by my supplier. So when they've got available, I unblock my whole shipment, which contains the main point of interest here, and that is T44M. Okay, from Mini Art kit number 37002, 1/35 scale. What is so interesting about this kit and my subscribers, that my first ever subscriber, the Romanian Gabriel Glodan, he has a T44M as well. I'm quite sure this is the version he has. It could be the other one with full interior, I'm not sure of it. I'm not going to go now in details, I'm going to go in more details when I'm going to start building this kit. What I was saying that is interesting about my subscriber in this kit, that my first ever subscriber and one of the last from the first 100, which is Supercut, he is very insistent on wanted to see this kit completed, and I promise him I'm going to build it whenever I'm going to have the opportunity. I pre-ordered it, but my as I said, my shipment was in hold because of IR80 aircraft. So the reason why I hold this the release of this video until now, just to add on this good news for both Gabriel and Supercut, that I'm going to start perhaps in June working on this T44M. The only problem I have is the building schedule, because I am already engaged in one build that seems to be more complicated than I initially thought, and this is again my build dedicated to first 100 subscribers, and this is the Mack truck. Anyhow, I have another campaign which I subscribed, the MTO campaign, that is going to start in June. So I'm not quite sure how I'm going to synchronize those, but a promise, it's a promise. So this kit is going to have priority over my other builds. So if you did watch my announced schedule just moments before in the same video, I announced a Airfix 1/72 scale Arado. This is going to be cancelled, and I'm going to add the T44M on my schedule. Depending on difficulty that I'm going to have with Stuka build, this kit perhaps is going to come out of the box somewhere at the mid-June. By the same time, I'm going to have another special edition, which I'm going to mark 1 year of activity on YouTube. I'm still thinking of the proper date, because the end of June and the middle of July, which is my birthday, are quite close. So I want to do I don't know, anniversary edition that to includes more than one event. Also, by that time I'm going to have passed more than 10,000 views across channel. I'm not entirely sure, but I think I passed them already. I have to check tomorrow my last numbers. That's the good news, guys. Gabriel, I know you have this kit. I'm not sure of the version, but it's going to be very interesting if we can build it in parallel somehow. And thank you very much for your permanent commenting, and thank you very much for being the honest subscriber. Yes, Gabriel is telling me whenever he likes or whenever he doesn't like my work, so I appreciate it very much. That's the reason why I'm doing those videos, because I am very open to constructive criticism. Now let's move forward, because I still have a few things to show you. I know you did see it before, but I announced it as Japanese seat belts for my Zero. Well, is a mistake from my supplier that they sent me the same 73002 Luftwaffe fighters. Well, for sure I have something to do with them, but I don't really need them right now. I just bought a new one. So by the time I'm going to start the Zero, this problem is going to be solved, I'm sure. The T-44 alone is going to make me spend perhaps 2 months in building, and especially with the full interior. So I have no concern. I have a good use for those. There is no emergency on having the Japanese belt, so it's okay. I'm going to sort it out. In the new set of transfers from Archer, fine transfers again, this time are shipping stencils. They're very nice addition to any soft skin vehicle, especially if you want to depict it into a new state. For what I understood, the shelf life on those fine transfers is quite long. They can be used as decals as well with a clear film, which I have. Coincidentally, okay, here you can see actually the print. I choose the white ones because they are quite contrasty over any kind of finish, either Panzergrau, either camouflage, either dark yellow. So again, it's just an add-on, good to have them. And finally, the last thing I want to take a minute to talk about is, perhaps you noticed already, I have changed my channel intro with a shorter one. The old intros, I had 2 intros or 3 I think, for aircraft intro, armor intro and such. They were target of much criticism for my friends. Profipack designer is one of them, and also my brother. They were calling my attention that 30 seconds of intro is way too long, and the channel visitor loses interest. I have to agree with them, but it took me some time to find another idea and to put it into practice. I'm laying plans now to do also a channel trailer. I have a good mental sketch on that, but the time is very pressing because I'm building much faster than I can edit movies, and now I have like 4 builds finished that I still have materials on raw, working on a 5th one, and if I'm going to keep this written, I'm going to be far ahead with the builds by regard with the movies. I'm not quite sure what I can do about that. I'm quite eager to build. I have a lot of kits that I bought. I have a lot of interesting campaigns going on Aeroscale or Armorama, and also I'm part of a campaign on Modele right now. So all these are quite productive campaigns regarding the building. But building models is taking me the time from editing and publishing videos, but on the other hand, I try to be consistent with my publishing rate. So I'm still fighting to find my balance between the speed I build and the speed I edit my videos. Thank you for your understanding. Thank you very much for your attention, and please let me know down into the comment section whatever you might think about my new intro, about my new formula, or if I need to add or to subtract anything for my videos to meet your expectations. Thank you very much one more time for your attention. Bye bye for now, and see you next time.